Well, well, well. Boy, my face is big. How did that happen? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So good to see you. Let's see if we can't make this a little less huge. Is that better? There we go. That's better. All right. Testing 1, 2, 3. Let's see what kind of audio levels we've got here. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. That looks pretty good there. Let's try over there. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Seems as though we're losing a little bit in the translation. Let's see. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Okay, I guess it just depends on me. Hi, Marie. Glad to have you. Who have we got here today? Daniel, Jerry, Giles, TV Todd, Anderson, hunker down there, bub. Nicholas, Chris, and Scott, Tommy, Rod, Prashana, Jim, Michael, Jerry, Nick, Rudy, Dave, Amanula. Did I pronounce that right? Amanula and Kenny. Glad you guys are here. I appreciate you showing up early or on time, as the case may be. Yes, we have no guests today. That's why you got me, because I was lonely. It looks like you guys were having a lot of fun in chat, and so I was feeling left out. Going to be an interesting show today. We've got a couple, three things that I think are newsworthy, and I know that you can guess at least one of them, maybe two, because I think I gave it away in the ticker on the other one. Chris says it sounds good there. Thank you, sir. Giles says my camera is uber clear. He can see every wrinkle. You say, Tom, where do I go to get this chat? Well, if you're watching us on Facebook, which that Facebook stream started just a minute ago, if you're watching us on Facebook, and we'll start the Periscope stream in just a second, come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com, and that way you can get it on the chat. Because when we go to the regular show, this chat window right here goes away, and so you'll miss out on it. So come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com, click the Watch Live tab, and you can watch us. And let's go ahead and start the Periscope stream so we can get those folks on board too. Today's show, as most shows have been, we're using two PCs for production. They're not real high-power PCs. They're second-generation i7s. Both of them are equipped with NVIDIA graphics cards. I think I've got a 750, GeForce GTX 750 in the production PC here in front of me. And then on the streaming PC to my left, I've got I think it's a 1050, the latest version of the 750. So that's... Nope, and we're saying we've got a problem with the Periscope stream. Let's see. Let's go in and take a look at that. Periscope, Twitter, Eastern Shore Broadcasting. Okay. Let's start it and see what happens again. It didn't like a setting. Oh, nope, there it goes. Okay, there we are. You know, it's kind of funny in the streaming, not coming from the broadcast world myself, not coming from any kind of broadcast world. When things are red is like a stoplight. Red is not good. Red means, whoa, something's wrong. It's a fire engine. But in the broadcast world, red means good. So the streaming button is turned red, so that's good. Michael Wilson, when did Tom start streaming to Periscope? Well, let's see, about 30 seconds ago, it looks like. No, I'm just teasing. I do it every week. I just don't talk about it. And Periscope is kind of like if you're a fisherman and if you ever troll and you go out there and you throw a hook over and you're trolling for fish and you're just kind of going wherever. That's what Periscope is. I'm just trolling for an interested party to invite them to come over to easternshorebroadcasting.com and get the whole, get the high quality feed, because Periscope right now, I think we're streaming 540 video, 540p. So it's kind of like half 1080, which really means quarter 1080. And it's a decent stream, but it's not high definition. And so if you want to get the high definition stream plus get the chat, you have to go to easternshorebroadcasting.com and click Watch Live tab. So we welcome all our friends on Periscope and Twitter and Facebook, and those of you watching on YouTube directly, come on over to Eastern Shore Broadcasting. I keep pointing like this because I'm pointing to the bottom of the screen down here where you can't see my hands down there. Anyway, easternshorebroadcasting.com, where you can watch the show and pop out the chat. So I'm delighted to have so many folks here. I see Spencer has joined us. Welcome, Spencer. Jerry's here. Martin Stuckey's here. Martin, I want to update on Martin is the recipient of the 10 PTZ cameras that we shipped to Switzerland for his stadium. Is it a stadium, an arena? How would you describe it? It's a curling hall. And he's got 5 curling lanes. Is that what you call them, lanes? With 2 PTZs in each lane. And so I can't wait to see the results of that. All right, Tom Giles says, "Whoa, your cam is auto color balancing something chronic. Every time you wave your hands in front of your face color changes." Ah, look at that. Interesting. Does the background change too? So it's set on some sort of auto. I'll have to check that. And let's see who else has joined us. Scott Piantis here. Welcome, Scotty. And 321 Action Video. I'm trying to, I should remember because I've responded several times. And Dave's here, of course. Martin S. is tuned in. Glad to have you. Let's see. Looking down the list. I see the wife is here, but I don't see Jan here. Maybe he's watching and not chatting. Martin K. is here. Hello, Martin. Jim Moline. Welcome, Jim. Timothy's here. Welcome. Glad to have you guys. You're saying, okay, Tom, where are you reading these names from? Well, these are folks, obviously, that are in the chat. And if you go to easternshorebroadcasting.com, click the Watch Live tab, you get the chat, and then over to the right of the chat, on the far side of the right of the chat, it lists all the people that are in chat. It's kind of different from the YouTube chat, where YouTube, you can find out the participants, but that's just the folks that... what would you say, that have oh, look at that, how the color of my face changes. We'll have to find a color that we like. Isn't that something? Anyway, you can see the whole list here of everybody, whether they're chatting or not. So you can, if you see somebody you know, you can give them a shout out. All right, John isn't allowed on tonight. Oh, he's been a bad boy. And I still pronounce it like it's an American J and not a European ya. Dave's here. Hey, Dave. Giles says, no, my background does not change. I'm still the terrible person I've always been. That you can't change your background. Oh, my goodness. Okay, we've got just a minute here before we get started. I love the production clock. I just love it. I've gotten used to it. I've been using vMix 20 for what, 4 weeks now. And YouTube's got a new low latency stream out that Gil Yum posted about. I don't see that he's here yet. Gil Yum posted about that. today, this morning, on the Streaming Idiots page. So if you haven't seen that, or you don't know what I'm talking about, okay, go to facebook.com. This assumes you're a Facebook person. And just type in Streaming Idiots in the search bar, and that'll take you to the Streaming Idiots group. We have our own group started by Jan and Marie. We appreciate that. In a couple of weeks, we'll be up to 1,000 folks. And I'll have to admit, I'm pretty picky about who I let in the group. If you look like you're a spammer from Nigeria, you're not going to make it. Although we do have a lot of folks from Nigeria that are in churches there that are members of the group. But we're trying to keep the group to folks that really aren't trying to take advantage of the group, but are trying to add to the group, or at least learn from the group. So that's kind of the backstory there. Well, I see where we're clicking down to little to no time. Look at that. It just turned green, so it's time to start the show. So, and Martin S. is here, so I can start the show. Okay, thank you, Giles. We got it. Hang around, by the way. Hang around for the post show, because in the post show, I want you guys to help me configure the bird dog. So stick around for post show, and the real show is coming up right now. Hello, welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, and this is Streaming Idiots. Yes, this you heard that right. It is idiots. It is Streaming Idiots. Somebody asked me the other day, Tom, why did you name your show that? Well, I said I want to take the pressure off. Streaming is a real high pressure. You're supposed to have a lot of knowledge and all this stuff, and everybody that gets into streaming makes mistakes. And when you make a mistake, especially a stupid mistake, a Tom mistake, what do you feel like? You feel like an idiot. So we'll all be idiots together here at Streaming Idiots. I'm so glad you could join us today. I hope if you're watching us live, I want you to come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com if you're not already there, so that you can get in on the chat. If you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter or Periscope or YouTube directly, come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com and click the Watch Live tab. And you'll have the chat so you can see what folks are, oh goodness, they're at it again in the chat room. Hey, Jerome, glad to have you. Anyway, I am so delighted and excited about today's show. I mean, there's several, you would think, okay, Tom's excited because of what. But really, I'm excited for three different reasons. And let me get two of them off my chest right away so we can spend some time with the third reason. Reason number one, our buddy Zach Adams, you remember Zach was on the show back on August 2nd. He does the Cruise TV show, Cruise Week TV. And Zach has been working with vMix Call and with, iOS 11. And he's got iOS 11 on his iPhone. That's not really an iPhone, but it's the only prop I had. He's got iOS 11 on his iPhone, and he's got it working with vMix Call. Now, we know Dave Edwards had it working on his iPad 2 weeks ago, and apparently there's been another update to the iOS, I'm tongue-tied here, I guess version 11 of the iOS, and so it's working with vMix Call. That's big news, because that was the kind of the missing link in the whole vMix Call puzzle. Or the vMix Call feature was that it didn't work with iOS, and then it didn't work with iPhones, and now it works with iPhones. I guess this is kind of unofficial. It hasn't been confirmed by the vMix guys, but we'll hopefully they will see that and get to work on it and confirm it for us and make sure everything's working. The way Zach showed off in the video, by the way, the video was in the Streaming Idiots group. You can see right down there in the white. Go to facebook.com/groups/streaming idiots and you can join. Zach posted this morning saying that he had it working, and he could even select front or back camera before he made his call. After he made the call, he couldn't change the selection. So that's pretty cool, and a hat tip to Zach for figuring that one out. The other thing I'm really excited about is today we're using a new camera in the studio. We've gone through all sorts of cameras. I'm looking at a lot of them in front of me, the Logitech C920, the Canon Vixia series that I used for a long time, the PTZ Optics cam, which was really overkill for a studio, but it was a lot of fun to not have to get up and adjust the camera. I could just do it with a remote control. But today we're using the Marshall. It's a little bitty guy. I've got a box of them here. In fact, we signed up with Marshall, so we're now a dealer for Marshall. So if you're interested in these cameras, we can provide them to you. And it's a little bitty guy. I mean, just little bitty. Let me pull it out. This particular one is SDI, but they also make an HDMI version. And it's just the teeniest little thing. Now, it's not fancy. It's got a fixed focus lens. So I think the lens that comes with it is what they call one of those fisheye type lenses, and I had to get a different lens for it. Let's pull it out of the little bag here. And it's just a little bitty guy. Look how big that is. And it's got composite and SDI outputs on the back, and then you plug in the lead for the power here, and then it has a little control here where you can set the menu inside the camera. It's pretty heavy for the size, but you can see it's not very big. And then of course it's got the tripod mount on the back. I've got it mounted just on a boom arm over here. In fact, I think I've got a picture. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. I can show you what it looks like. This is here it is in my studio. And you can see right there with the wires coming out the back of it. I've got it mounted on a little stand. I've got a monitor on top of that stand I'm trying to get working with the to show the program output to me, but that's a story for another time. It's pretty cool. Here's a close-up of the cam, and you can see very simple, nothing fancy, but for a studio, it's perfect, I think. What I've seen folks do is they've used these for they've used them for basketball of all places. They put them above the backboard, and gives a great shot down at the basketball goal. So we obviously have to get this one dial in a little bit. You can see how the color changes when I put my hands up. So we need to turn off the auto white balance or whatever it is that's on. But yeah, Henry says look like the white balance changes all the time. But it's just, it's been up there for 20 minutes. So you know me. I get something new. I got to try it, and I want to let you guys sort of try it, and then we can see how to get it dialed in so it's really perfect. And it was just a matter of literally turning the lens to get the focus. I mean, it was the ultimate in manual focus. It was pretty cool. So that's the two other biggie things that I wanted to get cleared off the decks first, and a hat tip again to Zach for figuring out iOS 11 and vMix Call, and then a hat tip to the folks at Marshall for signing an idiot up as one of their dealers. We have access to the entire Marshall line. We're not going to be stocking it all, but we can certainly help you get whatever you need from Marshall, and they have been very quick to ship and very agreeable and very helpful. So really happy about that. Okay, now let's move into some more good stuff. You probably know that, let's see, here's the news. Da-da-da-da. Yes, that's right. vMix 20 has now come onto the stage. It came roaring onto the stage last night. I wasn't expecting them to release it yet. Frankly, I expected that they would release it at IBC, but I guess IBC is just next week. That's that big international broadcasting conference in Amsterdam starting Friday of next week. So Martin and Tim, and I think Jens is going to be there too, are going to be manning the vMix booth at IBC, but they released vMix 20 last night on the vMix Funtime live show. And I thought I would bring Martin in I didn't tell you guys that Martin was going to be here. But let me bring Martin in and let Martin tell you a little bit about it, and then I can tell you about the rest of it. Okay? Martin, will you take it away here?
Hi, I'm Martin from vMix, and in this video I'm going to be giving a brief overview of the new features in vMix 20, which has just been released. vMix 19 was only released 6 months ago and included the powerful new vMix call feature that allows you to bring up to 8 remote guests into your production from anywhere in the world. And now in vMix 20 we've added a number of new features, the first of which is additional outputs which are available in the 4K and Pro editions. So now you have 4 outputs that can be independently configured and assigned to vMix Replay, vMix Call, or used as NDI outputs. The next new feature is a dual recorder. So in addition to the primary recording in vMix, you now have a secondary recording in the 4K and Pro editions that can be assigned to any one of those 4 outputs. So you can create a clean feed, or you can just record a completely separate input, or you can record the same output in an independent recording format. So that is the dual recorder feature. The next feature that is available in all editions of vMix is the new dual production clocks. So this is dual production clocks that are displayed within the vMix user interface that you can be assigned to any one of the current time, the streaming time, the recording time, or a custom event time. So you can find out how much time is remaining until the start of your show and how much time after the show has ended. So you have 2 clocks that can be independently configured from one of those different options. You can also assign the production clocks to an input in vMix. That makes it really easy to assign it to the multi-view output, or even use it as an NDI output on the network. So using the free NewTek NDI tools and the video monitor app, you can view that production clock from any computer or laptop on the network as well. We've also added a new channel matrix option to all of the audio inputs in vMix. So any input that supports audio now has a channel matrix that's available from the audio settings. You can use this to assign any of the audio channels from that input, such as embedded SDI audio or NDI audio channels, to any of the audio buses in vMix in any configuration you like. So vMix supports master output, headphones, Bus A and Bus B. You can now configure the channels within any input to any of those outputs in any combination you can think of. We've also added a couple of other new updates, such as we've tweaked the streaming menu to make it easier to use. We've added a low latency option to vMix Call, and you can also configure in real time the audio and video sources you send to your remote guest live. And finally, we've added the ability to control the NewBlue Titler Live software via NDI right from that NDI input in vMix. We're also going to add a number of new features in the future. So we're not done with vMix 20. There's going to be a couple of new features we'll announce over the next few months. So for those that have purchased vMix in the past 12 months, you might be able to upgrade to vMix 20 for free. For everyone else, it's just $60. To see if you're eligible, head to vmix.com/account. You might be surprised that you can get a free upgrade. Or if you'd like to give vMix a go, head to vmix.com to download the free 60-day unwatermarked free trial. Thanks for watching.
How about that? Oh yeah, I tried to catch it before the ad came at the end, but I'm just not that good. So I do like Martin. He has a very soothing voice, somebody was saying in chat, but maybe it's just the Australian accent. Maybe that's what it is. Yes, vMix 20 is out. You can get it now. Go to vmix.com and click the download the free app, whatever it is at that point. What is it called? I guess download the free trial. If you download the free trial, even if you already have vMix, click the download the free trial button, and that'll take you right to the page where you can download version 20.0.0.27. Now 2.6 is what came out last night, but since then they found, actually Giles found what he calls a bugette, and so they've already fixed the bugette. But yes, they do, Michael, they do have the NewBlue titler integration via NDI. So for those of you that love those type of animated graphics, or any type of graphics for that matter, you can do it now through NDI. It's going to be great. They've added support for the X Keys XK68 Jog Shuttle. What does that mean? That means instant replay. That means you can use the X Keys Jog Shuttle for instant replay. That was one of the things that they had been working on and didn't really have. If you're a 4K or a Pro user, or you want 4K or Pro, Tommy, you get 2 more outputs with the 4K and the Pro, and you also get a second recorder so that you can record a clean feed, as Martin said. I can think of a lot of different ways. You know, if you want... If you're streaming in 2 different languages, you know, you have a main language and then a secondary language, yeah, you can record both of those. I think it's going to be great. I love the production clock. I'm looking at it right now. It says I've got 15 minutes and 12 seconds left before my 30-minute show time is out. Of course, we always blow that, but nevertheless, it's nice to know what it is, and I can see it right there on the monitor. One of the things that I think kind of snuck in there, and Martin didn't mention it just a minute ago, is that vMix Call. You remember, of course, vMix Call was the big feature in vMix 19, the ability to bring in 1, 2, or even up to 8 individual callers into your vMix production. That is, you could have one person on as your guest and 7 more people sitting in the green room waiting to come on, and then you could bring them in one at a time, or in 2s, or in 3s, or all 8 at one time. That's what Giles does a lot of times with the World of Live Streaming show. The vMix Call now will work. You can set up a vMix to vMix call using the $60 vMix HD, Basic HD version. The $60 vMix Basic HD version will now be able to initiate a vMix to vMix call. It can't do the vMix call function, but it can be used for a guest to make the call in, and allow them to have all the functions of vMix. They can do a green screen behind them. They can add extra audio. They can add sound effects. Yes, indeedy, if they have vMix ready to do that. So it's going to be a lot of fun with that new feature there. It's going to open up a whole new world for a lot of folks that were struggling to use the browser. And I think that's going to be worthwhile. There also is in the vMix Call now a low latency function, which means if you have high bandwidth and you notice sometimes if you're interviewing somebody and there's some distance between you and them, that sometimes there's some latency between the time you say something and they respond, a little bit more than what's normal. And that can be reduced by using this low latency function in vMix. But what it means is that it takes out some of the error correction, the error checking. And so without having that buffer, sometimes if you have a marginal bandwidth situation, yeah, see my color changed again because I brought my hands up. If you have a marginal bandwidth, then you'll get some hiccups. So you have to have plenty of bandwidth to be able to use that function. You want to make sure you've got plenty of bandwidth, both on your part and on your guest part. One of the parts about vMix that people don't understand, at least from what I can tell in the response that I get, one of the difficult things to understand is audio. And I don't think that's vMix's fault. It's because audio is really hard. Audio is not like video. Video, you can say, oh, I got too much color. I need to get some of the color out, so I tweak that. With audio can go through all sorts of links in the chain between where it's coming from and where it's going to finally end up. And so vMix has tried to help make that a little easier to figure out by adding a channel matrix. So if you go into the audio input, remember every time you add something in your vMix production, it's an input. And you can add an audio device, a microphone, as an input. But videos also have audio, and vMix Call has audio, and anything that has audio gets its own audio input. And you can go into the settings in that audio input and determine where you want that audio to be routed. The channel matrix now is a visual way of doing it. I'd set one up, but I don't want to screw it up. And you also have the ability in that same audio input now in the settings to see that there's a live audio meter on the channel mixer page. So you've got a channel matrix and a channel mixer, and on the channel mixer window, you've got the ability to see live audio. So that's really pretty cool. One of the other things that I love is that vMix can now stream to 3 different destinations at 3 different bit rates and 3 different resolutions. Previously, you couldn't do it just like that. You could stream to 3, but you had to share a resolution and a bit rate on at least 2 of them. So now you can do all 3. There's PTZ support for the new Sony SRC cameras and the Lumens camera. And I have another note that I started to make that I couldn't make. Let's see. Let's bring in this for just a second and take a look and see what I missed. So that's got the vMix call, the low latency, all right, and then the audio, the channel matrix, and then a 8x16 channel audio router. I didn't show you that. We're going to have to explore that one and get you some more details on that. In the streaming section, it improved the streaming settings layout, which I think they just took out some lines and cleaned it up a little bit. And the hardware encoder can be controlled independently on each stream to assist with systems where the GeForce card only supports 2 encoders at a time. I'll have to get some information and find out just which cards will only do 2 encoders. I think it's most of them. So we'll just have to see. The PTZ, we've talked about the titles. We've talked about vMix also has more titles in its title selection. 36 additional templates, including lower thirds and scoreboards, have been added. And then, Martin kind of slips this stuff in here, but he improved the CPU usage when streaming, particularly with 4K. Now remember, vMix uses the graphics card for the processing of the video, but it uses the CPU for the streaming and recording. And Martin knew as he moves into 4K in a big way that he was going to have to squeeze out every ounce of power he could from the PC. So he's been able to optimize the what would you call it, the CPU usage when using 4K or streaming anything. He's also improved for performance with using the 4K capture cards from Magewell. They've got those on hand. So vMix 20 is looking, it's what I would call a smorgasbord release, kind of a shotgun release, a little bit of this and a little bit of that everywhere, plus the promise that that's not all, that more features are coming down the pike. And so it's going to be kind of interesting to see what they might be. It also is kind of interesting, and I may be misreading, but to see the channel matrix, and let me just try to pull up a channel matrix. Let me do a capture here and see if I can pull up. No, I can't do that. I'm not going to be able to do it. But I think there's some sort of video router coming to vMix in the future. The ability to route video, audio, as if it were, a 16 by 16 bus or a 64 by 64 bus, something like that. Keep your eye out on that one. I haven't heard anything. Nobody's whispered anything. I'm not under an NDA for anything like that. And I'm just wondering if we're going to see a feature like that in the future. I don't even know that anybody's even requested it. But I can see where it would be sure powerful when it comes. Let's see. How are we doing on time? Wow, we're doing great on time. Well, that's because you didn't have a guest. Didn't have a guest. vMix 20. Yes, you can get it now. If you have vMix 19, 18, 17, 16, etc., and you're thinking, golly gee, I think I need to upgrade. I need to, upgrade my license just from, 16 to 20 or 17 to 20. Before you do that, download and try the free trial and see. Sometimes vMix, they forget to turn on the little button that requires an upgrade. Sometimes I think they do it on purpose. So just go there, to vmix.com, click the download box, download free trial, click the downloads, install it, and see what happens. If it doesn't work out well, you can uninstall it and go back to your previous version, or you can spend $60 whole and upgrade to the latest, greatest vMix. It's pretty darn amazing. Even at $60, it's pretty darn amazing, especially compared to what some of the other comparable software would have you pay for an upgrade. Pretty amazing. I had a nice chat with some of the vMix guys last night. Of course, it was afternoon for them. It was midnight for me. And we were talking about things that are not well understood in vMix. And of course, top of my list was audio, just because I get so many questions about audio. Tom, how can I get my Behringer mixer to work? How can I get my Behringer audio interface to work? And they kind of agreed that that there's just, it's not a vMix. Again, I don't think it's a vMix problem. I think it's kind of an industry-wide ignorance of, we're a lot of us are video guys. We're coming into the streaming world, and suddenly audio is more important than it ever was, especially in a situation where you've got multiple audio sources, multiple microphones, or music, where you need to be able to control the volume of all those. You need to be able to control in some cases, if I had a lot of background noise here, I could take out some of the background noise with a gate. If I probably should put some compression on some of this stuff, because a lot of times I forget to check the audio levels, and it would be good to have compression on that to prevent me from blowing your eardrums out. But I think we're going to do, I think vMix is going to do some videos on audio, and I think we're going to do we're going to do an audio, probably a studio tour that's just audio related, to show how we do our audio setup. One of the beauties of vMix Call, as compared to Zoom or Skype, is that vMix Call does an automatic mix minus. And if you have one call, or if you have 8 callers, there's an automatic mix minus on each one of those. Each call is full duplex, which means that you can talk over your person. It doesn't cut their volume or cut your volume depending on who speaks loudest. Anyway, it's been interesting to work with vMix Call and the audio portion of that, and to gain more understanding of audio on my part. So I look forward to doing that. We'll make sure you get plenty of notice about it. By the way, if you're watching us now on Facebook or YouTube directly, or Twitter or Periscope, please feel free to come over to easternshorebroadcasting.com right now. Click the Watch Live tab. You'll get this video, but you'll also get the chat room. There's a great little chat room. Let's see, I can show you the post-show chat. There it is right there. There's the post-show chat. You can see everybody that's chatting right now. And that way you can get in on the action here in the show, and also in the post-show when the time comes. Michael's telling me that one of the input jacks is dying on his Behringer UMC 404. That's not good. Michael, is probably still under warranty. I would check that before I did anything else. Also check your cable. We're gonna end the show in just a minute. For those of you watching us live, please stick around for the post-show. We'll have to check, and I think Dave Edwards may be bringing refreshments because he was late getting here. Either that or, let's see, Rich Ignacio. It's probably going to be Rich bringing refreshments to the post-show, so you guys can go ahead and... In fact, Dave, you and Rich both start getting refreshments ready, so that there'll be enough for everybody in the post-show, because we've got a bunch of folks here watching the post-show. If you're watching us after the fact on YouTube or Facebook, we'd love to have you come join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/streamingidiots. We'd also love you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you can keep up to date with what's coming up in the future, and you can go back and see some of our old stuff. We've had some great guests. We had Dan Mile with Bird Dog on last week. We had Larry Megan with Night Owl TV on the week before that. We've had some excellent guests. I don't know why these people agreed to come on the show, but anyway, they did, and we've had some great guests and some great discussion. And if you're watching us on YouTube, somebody was complaining to me the other day, Tom, you talk so slowly. You just seem to plod along. Well, if you watch the YouTube video after the fact, you can change the setting for the speed of the video, and you can increase it by a factor of 25%, 50%, or even 100%. So you can watch a 20-minute video in 10 minutes if you want to. Just a little tip there. And Dave is saying that he want to watch on the Night Owl TV show. Actually, it was a different show, but same producer, Larry Megan. And Dave wins everything. I tell you what, I don't know how he does it. All right, Richard says he's got mixed nuts and lemonade for the post show. So stick around if you're watching us in pre-show. I mean, if you're watching us live, we'll have the live post show in just a second. If you're watching us on YouTube, come back and see us again next week. We're on every Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern. Don't know what our guest schedule is coming up, so if you're interested in being a guest, shoot me an email, tom@easternshorebroadcasting.com. We will be doing some product reviews on the Marshall Cam, on the Bird Dog TV, on the WIDA wireless system. So keep an eye out for those. Those will be on our YouTube channel, and we'll make sure that we link those from Facebook. So on behalf of everybody, our giant staff here at Streaming Idiots, we thank you for tuning in, and we will look forward to seeing you again next week on Streaming Idiots. Take care now. Okay, we are done with that, and we'll go to post-show, and I am just huge in post-show. Let me see if I can't figure a way to make myself a little less intimidating, shall we say. Yes, let's see. Okay, Tom is the main cam. We'll take the main cam, zoom. Is there a problem with the zoom here? Let's reset that. Yeah, look at that. How about that? It's got me all mushied. Let's see if we can't get it unmushified. There we go. That looks about right. Does that look right? Let's see. Yeah, makes me look skinny. That's the important thing. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, vMix 20. Yes. Exciting stuff. Oh, I forgot to mention it during the show, but just I would encourage your prayers for all the folks that are in the path of the Hurricane Irma. I know Reginald is, and I'll bet Anderson is close to it. And those of you in South and Central Florida are going to be under the gun here by the weekend. And certainly for our friends and family and folks in the Houston area, hurricanes are no fun. They are no fun. Been through them, been without power, had house damage. It's not fun. Not fun. All right, Tommy Willis says that he will be a guest for me. Tommy, you could come co-host. How about that? All right. No butter goose is sort of like sandwiches, and a smorgasbord is like a buffet table full of food. Okay, that must be the middle of a conversation right there. Pour the 5-hour energy into lemonade. Yes, indeed. All right. Marie says, hi, Thomas. Smorgas translate to butter goose. Huh. Okay, very good. Very good. Random Swedish fact. Michael Graves is in Houston. Yeah, Michael, you were last I heard you were doing okay, but not everybody is. Tommy, oh golly, Tommy Willis, can you give him an inch, and now he wants to push all the buttons. Oh, goodness. If you're thinking about donating to relief agencies, read up a little bit before you just wildly send a donation. Double check and make sure that that whatever group you're donating to gets most of your money where it's needing to go, and not eaten up with administrative costs. Okay, 1-504-724-231-894. Guest. That's a guest name. Tom needs to do a Zoom show like Giles. Well, I don't want to do anything like anybody else. I want Giles to have his unique show. He doesn't have to be copied. Tom, any news from the Odoo boys? No, Martin, not a word. They've dropped off the face of the earth. I do have a replacement. I need to get up with you with that. I've been out early this week. I had a tooth problem that, man, there's nothing like tooth pain to take you out of the game. And so I just got that fixed yesterday, and I am back. Andres is here. Better late than not at all. I agree. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Bunch of numbers guessed. World of Live Streaming has a copyright on that style show. I think what you're talking about, Tommy, would be a patent, and I'll bet you don't. Odious. Interesting. Yeah. Michael has got some information on the Houston donation, the Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund established by Major Sylvester Turner and County Judge Ed Emmett. That's great. That's great. And Michael's also got a list to it. And you think, okay, all I can send is $5 or $10, but if 10 of us send $10, that's 100. If 10 of us send 15, that's 150. If each one of us mentions it to two other people, it has a mushrooming effect. So it's a good and worthy thing. Tommy could not spell patent. All right. Any update from Murdoch? That would be R.J. Murdoch. He was in Houston. Yeah, R.J. was working for the Weather Channel as a camera guy, and last I heard, he was out there through this past Sunday, and I've swapped text messages with him since then, but he didn't mention that he was home or away. George is the late George Russell Washington, and thanks for the vMix mousepad. If you're interested in a vMix mousepad, send a note to iwantamousepad@vmix.com. and they will get one to you no matter where you are in the world. In fact, they've got some neat, cool ones that I'm hoping they'll send me so I can share. Michael says that RJ posted a question in the forum recently, and so he's around where he can get access to stuff. Yep. And the wife says there's flooding in Nepal and in the rest of the valley below the Himalaya. Well, I did not know that. I don't keep up on that part of the world, my bad. Michael Wilson thinks his vMix mousepad is bringing him good luck. Well, Michael, if you get a haircut, that would be good luck for you. Just joking. All right, here's a question. Here's a serious question. Thank you, Kent. What do you think with limited bandwidth I can stream at Facebook? What's the lowest bit speed you would send to Facebook with having only 5 MB upload speed? I think he means megabits per second. If you're streaming only to Facebook, 2.5. That's easy. You take whatever your uplink speed is, figure that it's going to fluctuate, and so you take 50% of it, and that's a good safe speed. So yeah, you can do a nice 720p speed, 720p feed at 2.5 megabits per second. That's a good one. Now, if you're going to do multiple streams, then you'll want to look at that. I stream to Facebook at 1.5, but I'm also streaming to YouTube at 6 megabits per second, and I'm streaming to Periscope at 800K. So 806 is 6.8, and 1.5 is 7.8, 8.3. So that's 8.3, and I've got 25 up, so I've still got some headroom to do some other kinds of stuff. And when I bring in a vMix call guest, obviously that's going to take whatever I send back to them is going to use part of my uplink. So that's one of the tricks, is to get your guest, assuming your guest has enough uplink, is to get your guest to go ahead and send you a 720 or a 1080p feed. Excuse me. And then you can just send them back 360 or 480. I guess there isn't a 480 choice, but you could send them 360 or the real low quality 720 and not eat up a whole lot of bandwidth on the uplink. Kent says he streams to 3 destinations. Okay, well, then you're going to have to do your math. If you've got 5 megs up, you've got 2.5 you can play with. And if 3 destinations are Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, or Twitter, you can send, I think you can probably send Facebook a 480 stream at 1 meg. That'll look good. Periscope a 540 stream at 800. That's 1.8, and that leaves you 700 to send to YouTube. Now, you'll have to diddle with the numbers. You'll have to play with the numbers to figure out, and you have to figure out what's your most important resource. Where are you getting the most views? And you'll notice, here that I'm streaming to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, but I'm inviting all those people to come to easternshorebroadcasting.com so that they can get the chat. And what I don't say, it's not that I'm hiding it, it's not a secret, but what I don't say necessarily is you'll see the YouTube feed. Well, the YouTube feed is my 1080 feed. And it's my 1080 feed because, number one, because I can. I have the bandwidth, I have the PC, I have the right software to do it. Goodness gracious. And I also know that YouTube will take the 1080 and they'll produce from that 1080 feed, they'll produce a 720, a 480, a 360, a 244, and a 240 and a 144 immediately, so that you guys can view at whatever resolution you want to. You can select it, or it can be auto-selected for you. So that's why I do the YouTube with 1080. And I just use the Twitter and the Facebook and the Periscope as kind of a, not really a bait and switch, but a come on into the show here. And now that you're here and you're interested, come on over and get the good stuff and get in on the chat. Let's see. Michael is going to donate to Locks of Love. I love it. I love it. All right. Numbers guest says his last free stream had 77 megabits per second up. That's awesome. That's great. Amanula says, I'm streaming to Facebook and YouTube, but it didn't work for Twitter. Okay. Try vMix 20. See if that makes a difference. 1080p 30 or 1080p 60? Michael, that's a great question. Because I've heard, I haven't ever tried it, I've heard that a 60 frame per second video just looks so much more lifelike. Not that you guys need to see me even more in more detail than you do now, or even more lifelike, but just to test it. Obviously, you're going to use twice as much bandwidth. You're probably going to use twice as much CPU. Can you stream 60 and record 30? Can you record 60 and stream 30? That would be really, really interesting. And Michael Wilson says, yes, you could use a service like Restream.io or Switchboard, which is Joycaster, which would cost you a few bucks. And yeah, but if once you own vMix and you want to take use of vMix and you have internet connection, and so if you can fit it all in there, you do it for free. That's the thing. I think that's what Kent's question is. Kent says YouTube is his best stream, just like what I'm doing. Okay. Then I would stream the minimum to Twitter that I could, the minimum to Facebook that I could, and make sure that I invited people over. Now, Kent, the format of your show is a little different than, I mean, this is a streaming show. This is a streaming show about streaming, and we're using streaming to stream it so that you can learn about streaming. But your show is not like that. So it's not quite the same thing in the middle of the show to invite people to come over so they can watch the chat or something like that. Although, I don't know, you might find a way to do that. It might fit in your show. Let's see. Michael says, for sports, 60p is king, but 30 still looks goose. All right. Kent likes free. Yeah. Kent, for somebody that likes free, Kent used to own VidBlaster, he used to own Wirecast, and now he owns vMix. Okay, and the number guest that says, Chatwings has forgotten who I am. I'm sorry. Yeah, Chatwings a little finicky sometimes. All right, Rich says, thanks, Tom. Great show as always. Streaming this weekend in Oregon. Woo. Michael says, 60p is very intensive. You remember me calling a few months ago about frame drops. The problem was 100%, that 60 frames per second was pushing it too hard. Well, it all depends on your hardware. Michael, if you've got, if you've got an 8-core processor, you got a NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080 Ti, you may have plenty of horsepower. Michael says, has anyone tried VidPresso, a cloud broadcasting service? Tommy says, it's nap time for him. All this technical stuff is right over my head. And I'm going to let you push my buttons? I don't think so. I'm just teasing. Okay. I want to, with your help, I've used the Bird Dog briefly with the PTZ Optics cam, and I want to connect it to the cam that I'm using right now, the Marshall cam. And so I want to, and the Marshall cam is SDI, so I want to come out SDI on the Marshall cam into the Bird Dog, and then out of the Bird Dog via IP, and and pick that up in vMix, so we can come back to this shot. So let's see if I can get a shot up that will show what I am doing. Let's use this one right here. So we're going to move that camera. Well, I tell you what, let me move that camera first, and then we'll do all the work. So don't go anywhere. How much cord do I have on this cam here? See if I can get it where I can. Hang in there, guys. Almost. What a mass of wires. Making some progress. Okay, now we need a little bitty tripod. We've got one of those here. Okay, let's try that. All right, so we've got the, see if we can move that over a little bit. There we go. All right, hang in there, guys. All right. So we're going to power down this cam just by disconnecting it from power. I'll keep that power wire handy. And we've got a, what do you call this? SDI? Yep. We're going to disconnect the SDI and we'll get a different SDI cable and plug that to the bird dog. Hang on a second. I have a small SDI cable here. Not really, but it'll give me enough room to connect. Let's see, we'll go back to the SDI connection, not the mono connection. I ought to make them different colors. They are labeled though. Okay. And we're going to steal the IP connection out of the PTZ cam. It's not needing it right now. And we'll bring that over. And then we need power. We could do PoE, but I don't have that set up. So we'll just pick out a regular power connector here. And what we've got is just this little guy. Let me turn around this webcam so you can see. So we've just got power here, and that's going to go into the bird dog. Supposedly this works first time every time. And that would be power right there. Okay. And then we're going to have Ethernet and SDI. So Ethernet is going to go in there. SDI is going to be an input there. And this is pretty easy. It's all labeled pretty well. And now we just need to plug the power into something. Let's see if I've got an empty power strip available back over here. You never have enough empty powers. Nope. I don't want to unplug something because you'll unplug something you need. Oh, let's see. There's one over there. All right, we're going to take the bird dog and put it out of the way for a second. And we'll plug it in. And it says startup. Oops, hold on, sorry about that. There we go. So it takes about 30 seconds to establish a connection. And it'd probably help if all right, now it's cam 1. So let me go get cam 1 plugged back in. Hold on a second here. So we'll just set that down. This is fun. Now we're just going to plug the camera back in. And it is clicked to mean it's on. And we'll come back into vMix, and we need to add an input, an NDI input. And let's see if we get lucky and get a NDI selection. Well, I don't see an NDI. Let me show you guys the screen here. Let's see. Do I have a screenshot already set up? Nope, let's just send one. Okay, so we're going to do a desktop capture. And we'll do display number 2. Nope, that's the wrong one. Desktop capture, display number 1. Okay. So there's vMix. And we'll add an input. And we'll add an NDI. And this is where we're looking for the bird dog. But I don't see him. And he says cam 1. Oh, I wonder if he's on a different network. Let's see. Well, I don't see him showing up on the network. I had this problem the other day, and I just, I basically left it alone for about 10 minutes, and when I got back, the input suddenly appeared on the list here. Well, let's see. Giles is saying, is bird dog at the factory default config? If so, it should be DHCP plus show up automatically. And Daniel says it only works right out of the box if you use the same network that it's set for. And Chris says reboot the machine. Well, if I did that, you guys would go away. Let's don't do that. Let's think here for just a second. Yes, my vMix installation is .26, and .27 came out right before the show today. All right, Rich says try clearing the ARP cache icon on your desktop. I have no clue what an ARP cache icon is. But we can reset the bird dog. Let's see, we need a paperclip. Let's see about a paper loop. And this is the real world. You know, the real world is that everything says things should work a certain way, and then you get in that situation and it doesn't. What do you do? Tally light. I don't know that there is. Oh, is that a reset? No, that's not a reset. Can I see the network settings for the bird dog? I don't think so. Let's see if we can find what the bird dog's field setting is, what its standard setting is. All else fails. Get the directions out. Here's the quick start guide. There is no slow start guide. Okay, booting. Dun, 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 dun. Connecting a video source, accessing the web configuration console. Yeah, we tried that the other day. Kenny's like, no, not the manual. There is a way in the browser to go to the bird dog. Let's see, it is http:// Whoops, vMix NDI helper has stopped working. That's interesting. Let's try again. All right, / bird dog, BIRDDOG dash serial number. The serial number is right here. It is